What is up? Welcome back. Look, this is gonna be a new thing that I'm gonna be doing. I ran out of other things to say. A lot of my past experiences and whatnot. I forgot, not forgot, but I've ran out of things to say that would be generic enough to not, to not be too in depth of my life. So because I've lost, I ran out of those things. Let's go ahead and do a different segment. And right now we're going to be doing something I think is going to be fun for everyone. I'm going to go ahead and ask some questions. I'm going to put it in the comment section, right? I'll put it either in the description or in the comment section. I'll go ahead and put it down, but I'm going to ask the questions that will be there, and hopefully maybe you can relate. You can even answer it yourselves as well. So let's go ahead and hit this off with a big bang. Okay. So the first question is, if you could buy any type of food, what would you buy? Dude, I think I've already talked about this like of a massive extent, and I think, well, I don't think, I know the food that I want to get. All right, and those are two major foods that I'd like to get. One of them, obviously, hands down, it's going to be an empanada. I know I'm a simple man. Okay, very simple. I like simple foods. It's a handheld food, and it's got to be the savory ones. Okay, so the savory empanadas are the ones that are like the ones with like the spices and the beef. I think beef is my favorite. I think, and then the next best favorite is chicken, and then pork, obviously. So you go down that kind of progression or regression, I think. So you go down in that, but like empanadas would be the first one. I love it. There's a place in New York City, very, very close to Penn Station, where it's like a hole in the wall. You just buy empanadas there. So good. Mwah! I love that one. The second type of food that I'd like to get, honestly, I don't know why the first thing is like, is talking about food. It's literally calling me out as a big back, but the second type of the second type of food that I'd like to get is a poutine. Right? I'm Canadian. Okay? Everybody already knows that. I'm Canadian. And one of my favorite things, if I was not like slightly lactose intolerant, again, I've talked about this to an extent, but I think everyone, like in the entire world, is majority lactose intolerant. The very minority is lactose tolerant kind of thing. We're not supposed to be drinking that stuff. Anyways, it's poutine. And I make a mean poutine, but like there's something so good about just going to a restaurant and then just getting their own poutine. Now, I know that there's a lot of, because we're in Canada, I can just go to like a McDonald's or a Wendy's or like a, I don't know about Harvey's if they got one, but like a Dairy Queen and stuff like that. And I could just go ahead and order poutine because it's like a very country, like Canada style food. If you go to the US, you're not gonna see a poutine in there. It literally, a poutine, if you don't know what it is a, like, it's fries with gravy and cheese. That's it. That's what a poutine is. Now there's different types of poutine, obviously. It's just basically fries with some toppings on it, strictly like gravy and stuff like that. You don't have to have the cheese and whatnot. Some people do. Some people, you can have multiple other toppings. You can literally have like chili poutine on it. Like, anyways, it's just this and that. So that's like my favorite one. And I could literally, if I had only one food to eat for the rest of my life, obviously it's an empanada first and then a poutine. But if I had like only a surviving meal to eat for the rest of my life, like I can't have water and stuff, then it's got to be some pho. I would go with a soup, right? Hear me out. I'd go with a soup because you have the water in it. And also you have all the other nutrition in it. You got some protein, you got some carbs, and you got the water. So you can always just do that. So yeah, there you go. Good question. I can talk about food all day long. I aspire to be a chef, right? I've watched basically all of Hell's Kitchen, some Kitchen Nightmare. I don't really like Kitchen Nightmare as much, but Hell's Kitchen I love. Like I love Top Chef. I love Master Chef, Iron Chef, all these things. I love those like competitions because like it just shows you a different way. It's a show. It's a type of show that will show you how to be better at, just cooking, right? And you obviously you have to practice those things. Like you see it, you see the technique, go ahead and do it. Baking shows as well, barbecue shows. The Great American Cook Off, I think it was like the Great American Barbecue Show, like that one. Oh my goodness, that's one skill that I don't even know fully, and I really want to just barbecue like 14 to 16 hour cooks. Oh my goodness, that'd be so good. But yeah, anyways, that's number one, by the way. That's number one. Number two is asking me, what color is your toothbrush? My favorite color is the color purple, and I usually get purple toothbrushes. I do have a purple toothbrush. I have two of them actually. So yeah, purple toothbrush. That's it. I don't know what else to expect. Oh, by the way, my dentist always tells me, you know what, Damien, I think you should go ahead and get a mechanical toothbrush now. It's a lot better for your teeth because it's like, you know, you can, the revolutions per minute, it can really clean your teeth well, more so than a regular toothbrush. But it also does a spinning motion where it cleans more, right? It can get to like the tougher places with a different angle, because for you to get like a horizontal brush on the, like at the backs of your molars, you can't get that, right? Because you'd have to like pull your cheek basically all the way to the far back just to do that. Like you'd have to be like a dentist with a machine that just pulls your cheek all the way to the far back. But electric toothbrushes do that for you. Electric toothbrushes, and I'd want to get like a water pick. A water pick sounds fun because you just blow, like the water just jets through your teeth. So it sounds fun. Like it's just, I guess it's better. I'm not too sure, but I like the classic floss because I can feel that it's like scraping stuff off. Water pick, I don't know, maybe not, but there you go. Color purple, that's the one. If you could be any animal, what would it be and why? Now, hear me out. I want to be an animal that could be free, right? So that would be a bird or something like that. So an animal that would be free, but also no predators, right? So migratory birds would be fun, but migratory birds have a lot of predators. If I go with like an eagle or a falcon, I don't really migrate, I don't think. I don't think falcons migrate. Comment down below. Am I wrong on this? Can birds migrate? I'm not too sure. Like, not obviously birds can migrate, but are falcons migratory birds? I know geese are, and I was going for a geese or a goose. Something that would just travel across like the world and back kind of thing, and they have enough stamina to actually do that. So, and plus they can swim, right? They can, well, no, not swim, float, I guess. They can float. So, like, I'd rather be a goose. Maybe that's because like I'm Canadian. I just immediately went goose. Like, it's kind of weird. Goose. My goodness. There's much more different animals over there, but I think goose would be my favorite one. My favorite animal is a tiger, but if I was to choose an animal that I could be, I'd want to choose something obviously that's traveling. Now, that's based on real animals. Right? If I was gonna choose an animal, obviously that doesn't exist, but like in mythology, dude, I would go for a dragon 100%. Like one of those ancient dragons that can just traverse around the world in like 0.5 seconds. I don't know if those exist. Obviously they don't exist, but I don't know if that's like a thing in fiction. Definitely a dragon would be nice. They say that dragons are supposedly the dinosaurs of the day, right? Because there's a lot of depictions of dragons in olden times, like, you know how in like the Victorian age or the age of Arthur and stuff like that, oh, they slew a dragon, like, oh, with the sword that slew a dragon. Like, was it a dragon? Was it a dinosaur? Did it actually have wings? You know, what was going on with it? And I think that like if dragons did exist, I'd really want it. Like if dinosaurs, obviously dinosaurs existed, but if the dinosaurs were actually dragons, I think that would be better lore-wise for all of humankind, because hear me out. Yeah, like, you know, dragons, like dinosaurs existed for sure. You can see the bones and everything. And if they could fly, that's crazier. I think that's a bit crazier. Don't you think so? Like, you're looking at it and like a dinosaur starts flying. Shoo! That'd be, and could breathe fire. I don't know if they could breathe fire. Maybe their breath was so nasty, right? Maybe their breath was just rank. Rank is all rank could get. And they, like, the people stood in front of these dragons, right? And they thought because it melted their skin, because not only was it hot, Like obviously because you produce heat, right? I don't know if they were warm-blooded, were they cold-blooded? I don't know. Does a crocodile, does any does any cold-blooded, like are they producing heat? Like let's say when a crocodile exhales, when obviously they've been like, you know, when they're warmer, is that heat produced? Because I know that like when you're going out in like, you know, wintertime, your breath is warm and it makes a mist in colder weather. I know that like a warm-blooded produces warm air from their breath, so I don't know if that's the same thing as a dragon, but let's just, for example, that it did happen that way, right? So like you're just exhaling this warm, like crazy warm breath, but then it also stinks. So they thought that they were breathing some fire, but it really wasn't, right? Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. But yeah, if it's a real, anyways, if it's a real animal, I'll go for the goose. If it's a mythological animal, I'd go for a dragon. Like Phoenix is fun as well, and stuff like that. They can live forever. But honestly, you're just a firebird. You know, you just die, you reincarnate, you're a baby again. If you could reincarnate and be like another phoenix, like just a grown phoenix, then for sure, I think that'd be better. But I think mythology doesn't allow that. And there's other dragons as well, like the Long, like the Chinese mythical dragons that are just a serpent, like a. That would be cool too because they fly on magic. That'd be really nice. But I think those are less real than a dragon from like the western side, where this like dragon with 4 legs, like How to Train Your Dragon kind of thing. Those ones I think are more realistic than the Longs. So anyways, next question. What is one of the things you would put on your bucket list? What is one thing that I would put on my bucket list? What the heck? There's very few things that like I've not already done. You know, that's on my quote unquote bucket list. Like, you know, all that stuff. Like I've gone skydiving before. I've done all those crazy things. And there's really nothing that I'd like to do. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not wanting anything. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like a bucket list is like, oh, I've always wanted to do this and that. Like I've always just done things that I've wanted to do. Obviously, I'm doing like streaming now. I'm also doing like a podcast. Like I'm actually creating content now, right? Is it good? Is it bad? Who cares? Because in the end of the day, I wanted to do it, so I'm doing it, right? It's one of those things, right? Like, oh my goodness. So I'm doing it. So there's really not much that I've not already done kind of thing. So I would say my bucket list, oh gosh, let's go with create my very own video game. How about that? I'd never wanted to do it. I know how difficult it is. There's a lot of things associated with creating a video game of your own. Like you can obviously make like Pac-Man or stuff like that very simply. It's just that. But I want to create like an open world video game that's like Skyrim, that's like Fallout, and it's just more. Right, it's just more. That's something like that. So maybe that's the one. Maybe that's something that, you know, it's cool. Who is your favorite superhero and why? This is a very controversial question for me. I'm a nerd, right? It's a very controversial question, and I'll tell you why it's controversial. Okay, so I have several of them. My number one is Spider-Man, Spidey. I think Spider-Man is very relatable as a superhero. They were a college student back then. Even they were like high school student back then, right? They got superpowers. They didn't know what to do. They were so lost. They had like that teenager kind of aspect. Obviously, when I was reading this, and then they had like the college student aspect, and they were just going through the motions of becoming this human adult, but they couldn't really do that because they had the actual personification of you're not normal. You are very different and you are special in a way, right? So they had to navigate through that and not be awkward and not have people look at you and shun you, right? Kind of thing. So it's that thing, and you had responsibility that was forced upon you, and it was just really relatable. in all aspects, right? So Spider-Man is definitely, they're also super powerful. They're also super smart. They're not relatable. I'm not crazy smart. I'm obviously not super powerful. I can't swing like through the air with webs and kind of thing, right? But it's the, like, they were strong. They were just everything, right? They were just really good. And then if you really go into the depths of the Marvel comics with Spider-Man, they actually become like, they absorb the power cosmic. They get all of these things. So it's really nice. Like base Spider-Man, like, if we're not going to be talking too much nerdy things, but base Spider-Man was like, but then you actually go into like further and up the ranks of the Marvel nerdiness, you get like a much better version of Spider-Man. So Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, quote unquote. If you're talking about like an anti-hero, I really like the comic book characters. I'm not gonna say heroes because they're not technically a hero or at all, but I like the comic book characters that has a depth and has a real tangible connection to humanity, right? Like a tangible connection. You're looking at Spider-Man, sorry, not Spider-Man. You're looking at a Superman. For example, you're looking at a Superman. They don't have a tangible connection to humanity other than the Kents, right? They only have that, and like you can say Lois as well. Like, not really. They only really cared about the Kents kind of thing. They're an alien. They're literally an alien coming down to the world. They live as a human. They figure out they're not human. They have human, like, they have human tendencies, but they can never be human, you know? And that's something that like you can definitely force that upon you. Like, you can definitely force that, but as you have these powers and you know that you're not human, you can detach yourself quite easily. And you can say that, like, hey, they grew into their humanity. For sure, you can do that. There's still a tendency, though, because they're not human, you don't have the chemical makeup of their brain is completely different from ours. Let's just put it to you that way. A human is never going to be an alien or vice versa, right? So they have different tendencies to be an alien, obviously, to be a Kryptonian, right? So it's not that, but like, that's why I really like Magneto. Eric Lench. I keep forgetting how to pronounce his last name. It starts with an L. Eric Lencher or something like that. Anyways, Magneto is a flawed character 100%, and I like Magneto a lot. And I like Doctor Doom also, okay? And just hear me out. Doctor Doom and Eric are one and the same in kind of an aspect, right? Doctor Doom only wants to save, really. He wants to save his kingdom. I forgot his name, Lithuania or something like that? Something like that. It starts with an L. Again, all these L names, like, I'm not sure, but he just wants to be like the protector of his kingdom, of where his mother birthed him and came from, and he finally figured it out, and he wants to be the protector of that. And the only way this person, because he's so arrogant, a human emotion, right? Arrogance, you can understand that, a human emotion, he wants to do that by becoming the ruler of the entire universe. Why? So that he can be the all-out most powerful being out there, and he can save people, right? That's how he knows that he can save people. So that's the one, right? So like that's what Victor Von Doom, that's what Victor does, Doctor Doom. The same thing with Magneto. Magneto wants to save his people, which is the mutant race. And he sees how flawed humanity is. That's the whole thing. He sees how flawed humanity is, and he wants to save he wants to save the people by ripping, by detaching mutants from humanity, from the humans, because he thinks that they're superior in the end, right? That he can see the flaws of humanity. Obviously, he's doing it in a bad way, but the main goal is that he wants to save his people. Right? It's very, very flawed way. That's what I said before. He's a flawed character, but all he wants to do is just, again, protect his people. The same thing with Doctor Doom. You can go about the other way as well, where obviously Professor Xavier does the same thing, right? But he's doing it in the way that is more kind to human beings in the end, right? Both of them are reaching the same goal, and one of them just does it the one that's kinder to the mutants, but the other one is kinder to to the humans, right? Both of them. They're both the same kind of goal. Different outcomes, same goal, different outcomes kind of thing. But yeah, so Magneto and Doctor Doom and then Spider-Man. Those are the ones. I went through a massive tangent there because I love comic books. But anyways, there you go. That's the one. Here you go. Now the next question is who do I admire the most? Now, barring from the obvious, like I admire my parents, my mom and my dad. They raised me. They raised such a person like myself, and I want to shout them out. Like barring from the close people that I have, like the close inner circle that I have. Let's not do that because that's a very cop-out answer. I admire. There's one role model that's outside of my inner circle that I admire the most, which is Denzel Washington. Denzel is by far, I would say, like Denzel and Kobe Bryant. Both of them are big inspirations to me. They're hardworking. They're very down to earth. They know what's up. They know their craft. They're very kind to the people around them, right? They're very kind, but they're not like hand holding kind. You know, they don't hand hold you through. They provide you the knowledge and the tools and how to develop those knowledge and tools and what to do to develop those knowledge and tools and skill sets and experiences and whatnot. And they say, all right, build it up and then do your thing, right? And that's what it is. They tell you these life experiences that they have, the reasons why they do things, and they're not forcing anything upon you. They're just showing you what they do and it works for them, right? And they give you the tool sets that how they got there, and they're not afraid to ask questions and stuff, right? And that's one of the major things that I like about them. It's also Denzel is a very wise, from what I've seen and from like I don't know who these people are. No, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know who these people are. They could be riddled with controversy. Who knows? All I know, right? Because I'm not like I look up to them by the way that they present themselves to the public, right? I don't know what they're doing in their private lives, and I'm not gonna go ahead and dig around. But the way that they teach people the values that they have, and they're like, all right, so like this is what I did and whatnot. It's just inspiring, right? There's this one quote by Denzel. Again, I can't verbatim it, but yeah, I'm gonna assume that they are of Christian values. I'm just gonna assume that because this is very much in terms of like they're using Christian ideologies here or images. But it goes like this, where if you're doing something wrong, you don't get any fight back, because the devil says, hey, you're my favorite, I'm not gonna touch you, you know, you're doing just fine, keep going ahead. But if you're getting a lot of pushback, it's very difficult for you in life because there's so many bad things happening to you, or bad isn't like, you know, there's so many things that are preventing you from doing something. Maybe it's because you're actually doing something good, or you're doing something right, because the devil's saying, hey, they're progressing too much, I don't like it, you know. It's something like that, where the whole concept of that is when you're progressing in a way that's more becoming of who you are, or you're actually progressing further into your own life, into the better version of yourself, you're going to receive a lot of obstacles. You're going to be a lot of obstacles in front of you, and you're going to have a lot more pushback from everywhere else, right? But if you're doing something bad, then it's so easy for you because they're just letting you go. I'm like, hey, they're not doing anything. They're not going to go far. Might as well just let them be, because they're not going to get anywhere. Right? No one's ever going to stop the person that's running backwards, because you're trying to go forwards and you're trying to win, you know? So like, that's what the whole thing is. So I have a lot of respect for that. It's a really down to earth thing to say. It's very human. So yeah. Let's go with the last question, right, chat? That was pretty nice. Okay. Oh, this is something very simple. This one right here is, what is your favorite summer activity? And here's the thing. Summer is my third favorite season of a 4-season country. Okay, so there's some countries out there that don't have 4 seasons. Obviously there's some countries that only have 2 seasons. That's the drought season and that's the rainy season, right? And there's some countries out there, some places around the world out there that have 4 seasons, which is winter, spring, summer, and fall. And some places only have winter, you know, and some places up in the north have day and night, right? So they have a day season, which is like half the year day, and the night season, which is half the year night, right? So they have those things. But for a 4 season, summer is my third favorite. Fall is my first favorite, okay? Fall is my favorite one because you can do so much more in fall. It's a good enough temperature. It's like, it's not too hot, not too cold. You don't sweat outside, right? You can layer your clothing. You can have so much more summer clothing. I mean, you can have so many more fashion sense in it because you can layer clothing. You're not going to sweat it out kind of thing. And the best part is there are no bugs. There's none of those gnats, you know, like those tiny little flies kind of thing, just rummaging around everywhere. The smell is gone, right? I don't know what it is, but the smell of garbage is crazy putrid in summer. Maybe it's because it's like boiling the garbage. I don't know what it is, but in fall, like especially when you go to like Hell's Kitchen in New York City, in fall, it doesn't smell like garbage. It looks like garbage. There's a lot of garbage in there, by the way. Shout outs that there's a lot of garbage in there. New York City is a wonderful place. There's a lot of garbage because there's a lot of tourists and there's a lot of people in there, but you can go to other places in New York that's actually very clean. So Hell's Kitchen, like the very midtown of Manhattan itself, very dirty because there's a lot of people there. With a lot of people, there's a lot of garbage, obviously. And then when you go down to like the cleaner locations, the one where it's not a tourist attraction, it's clean, right? Battery Park, all that stuff, you know, Uptown as well, all that stuff is very nice. When it's the summertime, it just smells rank. But when it's winter or fall, it doesn't smell. It really doesn't, because there's no like the cold is stopping the air from rising, right? Hot air rises, like cold air like stays on the ground. Like it's just stopping all that nasty air from like leaving and going up, right? So that's one reason why I like fall. Second one is that my second favorite is spring. Okay, no, sorry, other way around, my bad. The second one is winter, because again, no bugs, but specifically it's still nice enough. If you go to a winter season and you're and you have nice enough clothing, and then like you're talking about the Alps and stuff like that, it's there's still snow, but then it's like nice weather. So I like that one. The next one is summer, because summer it like, you know, you have so many summer activities and stuff like that, but also the reason why I don't like it as much because the bugs are there, and plus you sweat way too hard. And it's actually tied with spring. Spring is still okay because it's still nice and like fall-ish kind of weather, but it's the opposite. It's more damp now because the snow is melting. But the reason why it's as bad as summer is because there's bugs. This is when the bugs come out. This is when the bugs are just crazy. The bugs are just everywhere. I don't like it. I don't like that. Not at all. And plus the slush as well. Do you know the reason why it's like as bad or even worse than summer? There's slush. Because everything is like wet now and all the snow is melting. Anytime a car passes by, you don't want to be there. Especially if you're like in a place that's riddled with garbage. Imagine going through there and then a cyclist is just roaming around and there's like garbage lying down, and there's the snow lets the garbage leak into the pile of like the pool of garbage water, and then you're going down that road, and then your tires flick that stuff up to your face. Oh, Nasty. Just even thinking about it is gross. But yeah. So anyways, that's a lot of talk for nothing. The question was what my favorite summer activity is, and I said it at the very end. My favorite is cycling. I love going to like bike rides and stuff like that. It's very nice. It's very peaceful. You can get exercise. You can also relax and stuff like that. It's good. The wind is like 20,000 miles to your whole body. It like wicks away the sweat, you know, because you're going way too fast and you're just really relaxed. The only thing I don't like about cycling, even though it's my favorite summer activity, the only thing I don't like about cycling is the fact that you need to have those specialized like either a specialized seat that allows you to sit on it for a long period of time, or you need to have a specialized like shorts that have like padding. And every time you get up from that seat, you're just like your bum is just protruding out, and not because you're like squatting nine times out of 10, you know, but it's literally the padding of like the bicycle seat. You know, you need to have that. That way you can be on the bike for longer. I just realized also, like I used to cycle a lot. Bike a lot. And I didn't realize until much later on, like you know, like maybe like a year after kind of thing, that you're supposed to have at the very bottom of the cycling like cycle, like of the pedals, you have to have like a fully extended leg. That way it's a lot easier for like it's actually like better for you. I think that's the whole thing. I didn't realize that. And this entire time I've been low riding I've been low riding it like a Harley. And that's bad for your knees, right? So there you go. Anyways, that's it. Thank you. This has been fun. I like these questions. I think this is a segment that I want to do a bit more because I'm running out of things to say. Honestly, I am. And I think it's just more fun this way. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.